Ken was good. Well, y'all know why we here, right? We here to talk to my Lauren. What up, madam? What's good? Y'all know why we here, right? Just came from the gym, y'all. So, pardon the look. Nina, what up, wifey? What's good with you? We here for my man Benzino, all right? I'm about to interview my man Benzino right here. Choke No Joke Live, all right? So y'all already know it's going to be truth be told all day, every day. You know what I mean? For those who don't know Benzino, before Love and Hip Hop, a lot of y'all know him from Love and Hip Hop, don't even know him as a rapper, which is real. You know, he was an artist first. He started out in the 80s. Signed to Boot Records. Signed to Surrender Records. Signed to Master Disc. Signed to Tommy Boy. He was signed to RCA. He was signed to Rap A Lot. He was signed to New Tribe. You know, with, what other labels was Benzino signed to? Surrender Records. Let me see if Benzino in here yet. No, he ain't here yet. Zeno, where you at, man? He been in groups like the Almighty RSO, which is the real solid organization, if y'all always wanted to know what that meant. Many of us know him for when they started out, them niggas they used to always be running around with that big B on their chest, the Bruins logo. That's because he's from Beantown, Boston. I might be a little sweaty, y'all, because I was just working out, so my body temperature's up. Let's see if he in here yet. There you go. All right, we got the countdown going. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Show.
1.
Show.
What up? What up? Ain't that was good. I was just giving him a little history on him, letting him know you ain't just the dude from Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? Hey, you forgot Motown Records and Electric.
I wasn't done. Yeah, but Motown too.
Yep.
Motown. What year was Motown? Motown was what?
I think that was like in 01. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kadar Massenberg. You know what I'm saying? That was dope.
Yeah. Oh, that's when you was solo though.
Yeah, that was my first solo album. Yep.
Yeah, that was Motown. So let's take them back.
Well, hold on. We gotta put these in the. We gotta put this in the forefront when we talking. You know what I'm saying?
Look, he promoting liquor over here.
You know, we gotta put these up in there while we talk. You know
all right, well let me put my drink up in there too.
You know, and that says executive producer Raymond Scott. That's Benzino. That's the government.
Okay. What's those? The Source Awards?
Source Awards. Heavier than a motherfucker.
Yeah, my man Cormega got one of those. Cormega was the first one to get the independent artist joint.
Shout out to Cormega. Me and Cole got a hot joint out. Me, him, and Raekwon. Matter of fact, it was on that Motown. It was on that Motown album too.
All right, so we all know you from Boston.
Beantown.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
Okay. Now, back in the days, when I first heard of y'all, it was, them wild dudes from Boston, and all I seen was y'all always rocking the Bruins jerseys.
Yeah.
Y'all was repping that B hard.
Yep. You know, I mean, I think like in early 80s, Boston, like around 83, around the time Colors came out, Boston started taking hold of like real, like colors for their gangs and their blocks. And, we chose black and gold. The Bruins was ours for the RSO.
Right.
Yeah.
And that stands for Real Solid Organization?
I mean, That was the radio version. It really stood for Rock Shit On.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah,
All
Rock
right.
Shit On. That's my first tattoo, that RSO joint.
Okay.
My first one, I got that years ago. It was the shield with the mic and the gun.
Right. So your first deal, was it 86 with Boot Records?
Yup. Damn, you remember that? That was, yup. Matter of fact, it was the greatest show on earth. That was the first time like our music had been on wax. You know, we had been going to the studio, recording on 2 tracks and 16 tracks, and we didn't have nothing on wax back then. But Walt Hilliard and another guy, I forgot his name, they had a label called Boot Records. They used to wear cowboy. One of them was a school teacher. He used to wear cowboy boots and shit. And for West Roxbury High School, and they had an idea of putting out, putting us on wax because we was the hottest group, in Boston at the time.
Right. So tell everybody in the beginning name all the members of the group.
You know what, man? There was so many members, but it started out with me, my man Kev, the Master Kev Ski, my man MC Knox. Well, let me stop before that. Let's stop, because this whole thing is really about, the reason why I'm doing this is really because Dave Mays, my partner for so many years, went on the Breakfast Club, and I want to clear up some things that he said. So I kind of
we gonna get to Dave, but we need to tell your backstory first.
Well, then let me take it from the beginning then of hip hop.
Right.
We skipped a whole bunch before the RSO, my father was born in Brooklyn, in Red Hook. Okay. And
yo, wait, fix the camera so we can see your face because it's getting chopped off. Like,
see me now?
Nah, we can see you. Just
see me now?
Yeah. I see you, but I'm just saying, make the camera go up a little bit towards the ceiling.
Oh, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There you go. All right, yeah, okay. Like that, just like that, right? Perfect.
Okay. So wait a minute, hold up. How's that?
Perfect.
All right. So my father from Brooklyn, and all my father's side of the family. My father Puerto Rican, got a little Italian in him. All my father very little. You know what I'm saying, like way back, but Puerto Rican. And my father had, all my father's side of the family was in New York. So my mom from Boston, Cape Verdean. I would get shipped to New York every summer to my grandmother who lived on Flatbush and Fifth, and then sometimes over my grandfather's, and he lived on Cedar Avenue in the Bronx. Now the significance of Cedar Avenue is it was a few blocks over from Sedgwick Ave. And Sedgwick Ave, it's all off Fordham Road, right over there by the Deegan. Sedgwick Ave is where Kool Herc and arguably, or maybe not arguably, the birthplace of hip hop.
What? The Bronx is the birthplace of hip hop.
Well, then there it is. Then I was 2 blocks over. My grandfather had a house, and he had a garage, and my grandfather had a bunch of machines that he would make needles on, that would actually be on the wax.
Yeah.
You'd have to take diamonds and then cut them to make needles. So that's what he did. And he had a bunch of machines, had a big German Shepherd, but he had a son when he was a little bit older that was around my age. You know what I'm saying? My Uncle Eddie. So Eddie might have been a year or 2 older than me. And I think it was like 76, 77. I remember in the basement of his house, that's where Eddie's room was. And like I told you before, the basements back then didn't really have any walls. It was like the Flintstones. It was like stone, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Bruce Lee posters everywhere, CB radio. I remember the CB radio because I remember I'm around 11 years old, so my handle was the Phantom. And my father was in the feds, and he made me a leather belt that said the Phantom on it. And
right.
and like in arts class, he used to make these belts. So I remember all that. But he had 2 turntables, and a Gemini mixer, two Gemini belt-driven turntables because the SB1200s wasn't out yet.
Right.
And that was when he taught me how to scratch with To Be Real. I think that was Gloria Gaynor. The original Apache, which was They Shootin', Made You Look, the original Apache, the breakbeat.
Right.
And yeah, that was the first time I got to cut on wax. And then I think like in 78, 79, I seen the movie Wild Style. And from there, I was heavily involved with hip hop. Like, I loved hip hop, man. You know, in Boston, I would give block parties, house parties, but I was still, at the same time, I'm selling heroin, I'm selling coke, I'm selling.
Wait, how old are you now at this point?
Shit, I had to be about 13, 14 around this time. About 14 years old. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm at that time, you know, in the early 80s, a lot of this, I met Dave in 88. And even then, you know, it's not like Dave was on the blocks or anything, like, you know, but we'll get to that. But
if you met Dave in 88, you already had 2 record deals. Or at least you did the Boot Records, The Greatest Show on Earth, and
I did my own.
We'll remember you.
Yeah, I did my own label, Surrender Records, before I met Dave.
Okay.
But you know, we was battling, like the Almighty RSO. We would battle people, and you know, I met my partner Jeff 2 times, who was the DJ, and he had a group on Castlegate. I had my group in Four Corners, and we ended up merging. You know, we had a beatbox, drum machine. I mean, a lot of people don't know that I learned my skills from this white guy in Queens by the name of Paul C. So Paul C got murdered in '87, but Paul C was one of the dopest dudes on the SB1200 anybody ever knew about. I mean, he was responsible for like Ultramagnetic, some of the KRS beats, Eric B and Rakim, Super Lover C, Casanova Rudd, Organized, Confusion. Like, you know, Paul was the shit, and he actually taught me a lot about the SB1200 and how to cut samples and stuff. So Paul got murdered, but you know, I was in the streets, so it was hip hopping in the streets. You know, I was selling drugs. My father was doing his first bid, about 15, 20 years in the feds. I was doing some things for him, and then I was connected with these guys out of Detroit called YBI. Shout out to my man Pep and Skip, Yin Yang, you know what I'm saying, the whole point, you know, Four Corners. And then I also was, you know, doing stuff at a young age from like the Shower and the Dog Posse up in Boston with, you know, Jamaican group, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had already been in hip hop and in the streets because, see, you know, Choke, hip hop and the streets went hand in hand. Hip hop came from the streets, you know, not college. Hip hop didn't come from the workplace. Hip hop didn't come from no white neighborhoods. Hip hop came from the streets. We know that. It was birthed from the gutter.
That's right.
So I was very much in the streets and into hip hop. From there, you know, the RSO made a name for themselves battling people. You know, we be battling people at Shevu, Rolling.
So wait, hold on. What year was the RSO formed?
You know,
if the Greatest Show on Earth came out in '86, that was RSO.
Maybe '83, maybe '83, '84, maybe around '84, maybe.
Okay.
Around that, maybe 84, 84-ish. Yeah, about that.
Okay, so and was Surrender Records that started in '88?
87.
And that's what the first joint from that was We're Notorious?
Yeah, that was the one we had the guns. You know, rest in peace, Tony Johnson. We had the guns on the cover of with Boston in the background.
All right, so 88, that's around the time you met Dave.
87, 88.
Dave was around when Surrender Records was
around
formed.
87, yeah, because I remember there was a college radio station named Emerson College. It's the same college Wendy Williams went to, Stephen Hill, a few other people. It was like a good college for people to go to for radio communications. They would do this like telethon every year where they would have live groups come in for the week and people send money, and there'd be rock groups, you know, R&B groups, and we was the premier rap groups. We went up there, and I remember that's when Dave came to the Dave actually came up there and actually said he was, looking to talk to us. And that's when we met Dave. He interviewed us there, and he wanted to, basically, he said he was going to Harvard, and he had a radio show there that went on for an hour, but it really only stayed on the Harvard campus and maybe elsewhere in Cambridge. Cambridge is like not the hood, you know what I'm saying? Like Cambridge is over the bridge. So back then there's nothing go on in Cambridge, you know what I'm saying? Still, it's the hood, Harvard, you know what I'm saying? Liberal white people, nothing goes on in Cambridge, no hoods in Cambridge.
Okay.
So me and Dave linked up after the interview. We had a friendship. I would go up to Harvard. He shared a dorm with Jay Schechter, his partner. Now, Jay Schechter was this white guy who put out an album out. I'll never forget. He had a baseball bat, and it was called Big Man on Campus. I think he put it out in 88, 89. And Brett Ratner was his manager.
Wow.
Brett Ratner of the movies, all the big movies, the big movie director.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Brett.
That was like his manager or something. Big man.
He was a music video director before he started getting into the movies.
Well, but even before that, he was the manager of this corny ass motherfucker who went to Harvard, called himself Big Man on Campus. Anyway, it was whack. He was whack. The shit was whack. You know what I'm saying? But it was what it was. The whole time now.
Now hold on, real quick. Hold on. Now, when you met Dave, was the Source already created?
No.
Okay. So what year was the Source magazine created?
The Source first piece of paper what came out in 88, like towards the end of 88, I think, or somewhere in 88. And it was just one piece of paper. But prior to that, Dave, was doing his radio station, and he got, we would go up there, and he needed somebody to kind of like validate the station. So, we would go up there. My DJ would be the DJ for him. Who
was that? Jeff 2 times?
2 times, yeah. Jeff
Okay.
back then. So Dave, Dave was now Dave grew up in DC. So Dave didn't get up on hip hop maybe until he came to Boston in 88, maybe 80. You know what I'm saying? Because back then DC was really predominantly go-go. There wasn't a lot of hip hop. It was, people would go through Howard and different.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that DC is definitely the home of go-go.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying? Heavy go-go influence, heavy go-go back then.
Yes.
Back then, you know what I'm saying? So Dave, Dave really didn't, he just got into hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool, whatever. So he put the Source out. It was a piece of paper.
And that's 88.
88.
All right, go ahead.
It was a newsletter for his radio station, just a newsletter.
All right, but at this time you already into hip hop already because you done dropped.
Not just hip hop, but heavy in the streets, guns, drugs.
Like yeah. Well, we gonna focus on the music part.
Yeah,
because
but it's important. I feel that's important because, again, it's important because of the authenticity. You understand what I'm saying?
But your street credibility. Nobody's questioning your street credibility.
Yeah, but it's not even the credibility that I'm worried about being questioned. It's what I think this generation of people got to understand the authenticity of everything. Remember this. Now we're going to go over this whole story and my involvement with the Source, but me being authentic from the streets and heavily involved in hip hop for years prior to I met Dave played a big part in what the Source represented and what the Source was.
Right.
Because if it wasn't me, it would have just been a bunch of college kids posing in what their vision of hip hop was. Nothing against college kids, but that's what it would have been. Because there wasn't no authenticity in Dave's group that started the Source. There was 4 guys that actually started the Source with Dave. It was Dave, H. Edward Young, a black guy that went to an Ivy League school, James Bernard, another black guy that went to an Ivy League school, and his corny friend is his roommate, John Schechter, who wanted to be hip hop. All these guys back then, college guys, always, especially, something about black people going to Ivy League schools, they always had this chip on their shoulders like they better than the street guy. they nose in the air. They always just felt like they was just better. And that's just the vibe I got. So that was his crew. That was his crew that he felt comfortable around, and they did the business, put their little coins together, and made that piece of paper he had into a book form. And that's how the Source got started.
So when the Source became a magazine or a book form, what year was that?
It had to be about 90, maybe. About a couple of years after. I remember I got locked up for a summer, and Dave didn't want to go back to D.C. because class was out, and he didn't want to, pay for an apartment. He would have to go back home to D.C. for the summer, but he ended up staying in my apartment when I got locked up that summer, when I went to jail.
That was 90?
It was one of those 90, 91. It was one of those around, you know what I'm saying? So.
All right. Let's not focus on the street shit, because like I said, your street shit is already solidified.
But Cho, it plays. It goes hand in hand, bro.
All right, but we like the people want to know about the hip hop. Like if street shit come into this, then fine. But let's not focus on it. You know what I'm saying? We here for the hip hop.
But again, it was important because that's when Dave was shipping books from my apartment around the time when the Source went to book form. Was around the time that I went to jail, and then he had my apartment.
So all right. So if that was 90,
hold on.
89, y'all dropped it.
Let me put my shit on airport mode.
I'm still here, y'all. Look, if I let him tell his story, we're going to sit here and he's going to be talking about the streets all day. This Instagram Live, I don't even think is an hour. Okay? We just ramble. Okay? Many of y'all don't know that. Y'all just want to hear him. Blah, 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 blah. We're not going to do that, or we're not going to get nowhere. Okay? I know what I'm doing here. Y'all sit back and hold on. Let me ride this horse. Y'all just hold on, all right? Let me see if he came back.
All right, brother, let's go.
All right, cool. All right, your head's chopped off again. But we cool. All right, so look. You know that this live only lasts about an hour. So we can't sit here and keep talking about no street stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got to let me conduct this interview, get it out.
Let's go.
All right? You know what I'm saying? All right, so if 90, the Source was created, by then you already dropped 3 rap songs commercially, right?
No, I mean, yeah.
The Greatest Show on Earth, We'll Remember.
Yeah.
We're Notorious. Oh, then you had There'll Be Some and How You Trying to Top. Which was on, what's that? Master. Who label was that? Master Disc.
Master Disc was the distribution for everybody at that point. That was like, they was out of Philly. And they was the one actually like printing up the CDs and shit. That's who they was. And they would also kind of distribute independent label.
All right, so now when the Sources created the magazine form in 90, were you a partner at that point?
No.
No,
but they told you that.
Yeah, but the people didn't hear that.
No.
Okay. All right, so you came home what year?
I mean, I did like 4 months for like the summer. That summer.
So your next deal was on Tommy Boy?
That's when Dave, at that point, Dave was getting, love with the label. So he invited down, I forgot his last name. The first name I think was Eric, the A&R from Tommy Boy, to come down. He was opening up for Naughty by Nature to come see us perform. He invited the A&R of Tommy Boy down to Boston.
Right. So, all right, so that's still Almighty RSO.
Yep.
Okay. Then after that, what? Epic Records?
I mean, we got the deal
Flavor
on Tommy
Unit?
Boy. No, then we got the deal on Flavor Unit. Shakim was asking Dave about the RSO, and he had signed, him and Latifah signed us it was a compilation album, and they had put out money for a video called The Bad Boys, and that was our deal with that. After that, we did an EP with Steve Stout. I remember DJ Clue was the intern at RCA at that point.
Is that the Revenge of the Bad Boys?
Revenge of the Bad Boys on RCA, yeah. Now, here's what happened with that. This is where we got to slow down, okay? At that point, when we got signed to Tommy Boy, we made a song about the police killing a couple of kids and got cleared for it. They shot one kid under a car and one kid in the back of the head in the hallway. We made a song called One in the Chamber. The police sued us at that time, and we lost our deal on Tommy. You know, Tommy Boy dropped us after that, before we could even put a video out because of the controversy. The song was doing good. And that's when we got the deal on RCA, we had already been on Tommy Boy. Now, we had lost a couple of our group members. I mean, we was in Boston doing our thing. You know, we had, you know what I'm saying? And at this point, they decided, and we decided collectively that, yo, we need a story about the group.
Right.
At this time, they was in New York at the Houston and Broadway office. Remember that office?
Yeah.
And that's when he had a big staff. Most of them college kids from New York. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them work at MTV and, you know, radio stations, doing all kinds of stuff. But a lot of them, what happened was when Dave put out the article on us, it was just maybe like a 3-page story about the group. The whole staff, about 30 of them, decided to say, hey, Dave, we want you to step down from your magazine because you put out an article about Ray and the RSO. We want you to just step down from your magazine. His 3 partners and everybody else had stepped down because you broke the rules of the magazine that he started. We want you to step down. So he was having problems up there in New York. I was in Boston. He got into a scuffle with one of the journalists, and I immediately went up there. He fired the whole staff, put different locks on the office. I stayed up there, watched his back, and that's when he made me a partner. That's when he officially said, look, you know, I don't have no more partners. I bought them out for a real small price. Why don't you come on in and be my partner 50-50? And I said, look, at this, again, I was in the streets getting mad money at this time. You know what I'm saying? So, again, that was important because I didn't need no, you know, there wasn't no money coming from Dave to me or whatever. Right. I was already in the streets getting mad money at that time. Right. So, Boston.
Now, what year is this? He
around
proposed
93, 94.
Okay. All right.
Around that time, 93-ish, 94. So he hired a new staff, and the source went on with me as the partner. Now, even though we was partners then, it's not like I still was heavily into the day-to-day operations of the magazine. I still didn't get a check from the source till maybe 98, maybe. Like years later. You know what I'm saying? He still was doing his thing.
All right, now hold on real quick. So in 98, you said this is your first time getting a check, but you still getting money in the streets. Now from 94, you did a joint with BMG, Surrender Records, you did another joint. Those Summer Nights, You'll Never Know. And then 96.
We had a deal with Eazy-E. We was the last group Eazy signed before he died. I talked to Eazy.
So Ruthless?
I talked to him 4 times when he was at Cedar Sinai. I met with him twice in New York. I met with him, and that wasn't through Dave. That was through a mob lawyer, a mafia lawyer, who my father was involved with, who knew Jerry Heller, and Eazy asked for the meeting with us through a lawyer named Mike Barbeau. Mike Barbeau was a mafia lawyer, Italian mob lawyer in Boston.
Okay.
We set the meeting up at the source. I met with Eazy. He was with the 2 Samoans, and that's when he was with the Mike Klein dude, the Jewish defense dude. But I didn't know back then, but you know he was something. Looked like Steven Seagal with the ponytail, whatever. I told the story, but I just seen the documentary, and I seen Mike Klein again. I said, damn, look at that. They go Mike. So Mike had a little leather coat, little Tommy gun in Manhattan, so I knew Mike was serious. I didn't understand everything that was going on, but this is when him and Suge must have had them problems. When I seen the movie, I knew later on. So he went to L.A., said that he loved us, the controversy. He was getting our first album deal, the RSO. This came right after the RCA deal. Let me go back to RCA. when Dave fired them, we're up at RCA for our press day, and James Bernard and Reggie Dennis and them came up to RCA while all the press is around, and they lied and said that they want to do an interview. They went up there and gave me a summons to court because they said I did something to them in the source. So we ended up, a fight broke up, man. A couple of niggas got thrown through the glass doors on the inside of RCA. And then we ended up losing our deal with RCA because of them. These, you know what I'm saying? So after that, that's when Eazy-E signed, wanted to sign us. I did 2 meetings with him. When he went back to LA, he checked in to see the Sinai. I was talking to him every day, and he said everything was fine. He said he had a pneumonia. And, you know, back then, pneumonia, you didn't think AIDS. Everybody caught pneumonia, and it was just a bad cold back then. So he ended up dying. We lost our deal. Then we got signed by Jay Prince, and that was our first deal as the RSO. And that would be like the last album RSO had put out.
Now, was that 96 when you signed with Jay Prince? Rap a Lot?
Yeah, yep. Then we had moved to Houston for about a year and put our album out.
Is that the Doomsday album?
That year.
Okay.
Which was
right.
which went through New Tribe, really, but that's when Rap a Lot had just signed to New Tribe.
Gotcha. All right,
Virgin Records, yeah.
So 96. From there, then something happened because it was no more the Almighty RSO and became Made Men.
We just wanted to do a transition. We went through a lot of bullshit. The name was fucked up with the gang task force in Boston, with the feds. It was just a lot of bullshit, so it was just time to me just to change the name. I thought Made Men was a dope name. We one of the group members had got locked up, and they didn't want to do it rap no more. We ended up adding another guy from Boston who was a dope lyricist, Mr. Jesus, and then we went on as Made Men.
All right, so the Made Men, then that's when y'all was off
That's
Rap a
when we
Lot.
got the BMG deal. That's when we got the BMG deal.
So
we did that
what's
video.
Reckless Records?
That was Restless Records. It was distributed through BMG. They gave us a bunch of money. They had just signed Warren G and Montel Jordan. They was based out of LA.
Okay.
At that time.
All right, and you had that's when y'all kind of stepped it up because now you got the Locks on that album. Yeah, Monique on that album. Yeah, Queen Pen was on that album. You had the Dog Pound, Trady,
Monifa.
Yeah. And
that
Dame Grease, LES on the production.
Yeah.
And D-Dot.
Yep.
Yeah, Classic Limited Edition. That was the name of that album. Okay. So at that point, where did Hangman 3 come in?
That was the production company. That was me 2 times and JB.
Okay.
That was Jeff 2 times, and another one, JB, that came up with Jeff's crew out of Castlegate, and we was the production arm of everything the RSO and Made Men had did.
All right, so now by this time, the Source magazine is popping a little bit, right?
Yeah, the Source is popping. Not even a little bit. It's popping. You know, it had done the awards in New York.
What was the first year for the awards?
Well, I mean, the first year the awards got read off on Yo MTV Jams like in '91. But the first actual award show with awards was the one with Bernie Mac at the Madison Square Garden inside the little theater area in there.
What year was that?
I think that was 94.
94? All right. And how many awards have y'all, how many Source awards was there?
I think we did about 8 after that, 7, about 8 altogether. I mean, you know, putting on awards for real hip-hop was like, trust me, it wasn't easy. I mean, you know, and understand, like, it's sad to hear Dave kind of like diminish my role with the Source because, you know, what people got to understand is that Dave and, you know, Dave was with us, with me and my crew. So he would look at the rest of them like these corny guys. They're just posers. He would look at the whole kind of staff kind of like that. Like they just, you know what I'm saying? When really, in all actuality, he was the same thing. But it's just that he was with me and my crew. So I guess he felt like he had the juice. And, you know, you could say he did because we was, and that's where the whole street thing claimed that was important because we was the streets in hip hop. So Dave got a chance to come in that world. That was my world. You know, it's not like I went to Dave's world. because Dave's world was those guys, all the
Right.
staff, the college kids, all those guys who really didn't understand the streets and wasn't in the streets. But when they get up in the office, they want their hat to the side and they go to, and they want to act street towards each other. But when a real street nigga come in the office, it's like everybody starts to feel, you know, a little funny. And it's not like I go in there and try to expose them for being not street, but you can already tell, you know, they would feel uncomfortable when me and my guys would come to the office. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So throughout the years at the magazine, would you say that you and Dave had a fair relationship, like on the up and
That
up?
was my brother. I mean, what the fuck? Like, that was my bro. Shit. We did everything together. I mean, and then around 97, 98, I started getting more involved, you know, with the Source All Access TV. That we was the first ones to really get, you know, we had our shit in syndication. We got paid for that too. We made a lot of money with that. So with Lisa Ray and Tretch, remember that?
Yeah, Lisa Rand Tretch was the host. Yeah, I remember that. Source All Access.
2 Times was the DJ. Then we did the Source show, Source Sound Labs with Ray J hosting. We gave Ray J his first hosting job.
Right.
A lot of comics we gave their first jobs. Kevin Hart, Bernie Mac, you know, Ed Lover, and Dr. Dre. I mean, we let all those guys host the awards, and it was giving them a lot of credit. You know, it gave them a lot of light because there wasn't no other award shows back then but us. And I had a lot to do with that, you know, and I had a lot to do with the Source having credibility because at the end of the day, the Wolves were still out.
Right.
And, you know, you had a bunch of college kids, you know, making some money. And, you know, you just think it's just not going to, especially being in New York, it just ain't going to ride like that. You're going to get a visit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was the security and me and my guys was the protection. You know, as far as if anything went wrong or if anything went crazy, you know, somebody didn't like a mic rating or if somebody didn't, you know, Dave had some backup because that's how it was. People get real mad when they think they're supposed to get a certain amount of mics and they don't get it. You know, motherfuckers will be ready to, you know what I'm saying? Especially take advantage of a Harvard Jewish kid. You know what I'm saying? Who ain't got no street in it.
Right. Let me say this. Being in all fair, at times, do you feel like you took advantage of being the owner of the magazine by giving yourself 5 mics or putting yourself on the cover?
Choke. That was just I was involved with the magazine for 18 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just a little part of it. Do you know how many how many issues the Source put out? How many pages of it? Of course, I was, you know, part of it, and you seen ads of my group. What motherfucker wouldn't? Oprah's on.
No. I'm just saying, like, when you look back, when you gave yourself 5 mics,
that part was a different. That was a whole different. Like, we got to get up to that part. That was around the part with the Eminem situation.
Right.
We still ain't even up there.
All right. So, what year did the Source end?
Prior to that, all you seen was just ads of my group in there. Ads.
Right.
And I don't think putting
there's
ads
nothing wrong with that.
But I don't think putting ads in my group, you know what I'm saying?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
But the industry thought so. That's what you got to understand. See, it was the gift and the curse. We suffered a little bit because of that. Because everybody was mad because we got ads in the magazine that I'm a part of.
That's stupid though. You know why?
Because
that's like being mad at Master P for putting ads in his albums.
They'll say P paid for him, which he did.
No. Remember the No Limit album? If an artist came out on No Limit, it had ads in the booklet for other artists that were coming out behind them.
So P would buy 8 to 10 ads.
No, not in your magazine, in his CD booklet.
Right, but I'm just saying. But he bought multiple ads. He's the first.
No. I'm not talking about in the Source. I'm saying if Master P dropped the album, let's just say Bout It, you'll see an ad in his album booklet for C Murder album coming.
Right.
Like, why? There's nothing wrong with you advertising in your own shit on your own.
But the whole industry thought the integrity was broken.
Right, but it wasn't. Not for you to put an ad in your own magazine.
I didn't think, listen, I didn't
There's
stop
nothing
putting
wrong
ads.
with
I
that.
didn't give a fuck. Hey, listen, I didn't give a flying fuck what they thought.
Right.
I wouldn't give a fuck and didn't care. Matter of fact, we probably put more in there if they started complaining.
I don't think people question that. I think they
no,
question.
hell, you crazy? Of course they did. To this day, motherfucker, like it just wasn't because of the one Made Men album I gave us 4.5 mics. Motherfuckers was mad because they seen ads in the source of my group. Motherfuckers was mad because there was a story put in the group. They was big mad about that shit. Major mad. You know, that shit with me came in 2000 and something. My nigga,
Right.
The whole 90s they was mad because we had ads in there. That was the problem.
Yeah, that's what they call haters now. They were just hating back then. Because if that's your magazine, you can have 100 ads in it.
Listen, you think Russell Simmons wasn't wearing Fat Farm in the ads? You think Oprah doesn't put her on every cover? You were smart to promote your own shit.
Oprah got ads in the O's magazine for her own stuff.
She's on the cover of every O magazine there ever was.
So how was y'all doing anything wrong?
Well, you got to ask these fucking weirdos, these fucking posers in hip-hop who are now these bloggers and now the radio hosts, and now these are the voices of hip-hop. We got the wrong voices for hip-hop. Because a lot of them, again, they poses. Period.
Well, you got to remember, a lot of these bloggers, we never seen them at any industry events that we was going to. They never came to no platinum parties, no album release parties. They didn't go to Jack the Rapper.
Either. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see none of them in them streets. Fuck the industry events, as far as I'm concerned. These motherfuckers wasn't in the streets. So automatically, I already know you faking the funk. You know what I'm saying? So anything that they saying now, they see through different lenses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't.
I don't look at that.
You know what I'm saying? Period.
Well, I don't take these people as validation. You know, it's a bunch of bloggers that could do research and act like they was there. I know they wasn't there because ain't none of them in my footage. You know what I'm saying? I've been shooting for forever. I've been going to Magic. I've been all around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Magic, the Jack the Rappers, the How Can I Be Down. None of these dudes was there. So they're not validated. So I don't care about what they saying. The same people that's hating and putting ill comments into niggas that y'all used to give autographs. Now they can type. You know what I'm saying?
Motherfuckers, look at the reason why those motherfuckers are allowed to be the voices and get all the jobs in hip hop is because because people don't have to worry about them. They're less, you know, in their mind, a street nigga's more confrontational. And if I fuck this person, what's he gonna do to me? And that's the problem. That's the problem. Right. The problem is separating the streets from hip hop and giving opportunity from niggas who was authentic. And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. See, I don't, you know, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I never was with the Source and everything I did for him, the Source would have just been like Vibe or XXL, a fucking magazine with a bunch of fucking corny motherfuckers writing stories who know nothing about what hip hop, where it came from and what it's about, or the struggle.
Right. And Double XL, all they did was mimic y'all.
Listen, I gave the Source magazine.
Wait, hold on. Let me say this. Didn't Double XL get created by everybody that works for y'all and they went over to
Double XL got created by the people who was making Field and Stream and Hunting magazines, and they looked at what we did and just did the exact same thing. They figured, hey, they're getting so much money that it's just like Coke and Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? We was getting so much that the market share, they felt that they could come in and do it. I mean, you know, it was what it was. It was a carbon copy of what we did. You know, the problem was they didn't have a Benzino. They didn't have a real nigga. Because, see, Carlito Rodriguez.
They had that gangster dude. They had that gangster dude, Elliot Wilson.
I gave Carlito Rodriguez just came out of jail. I gave Carlitos the editor-in-chief job. Kim Osorio was a woman. I gave her the first woman editor-in-chief job. There was things that I did. I made those decisions. The more real niggas I was trying to bring involved with the Source magazine and giving jobs, I felt good about that. Like, you didn't have to be college. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to fit this certain mold of a person to be able to write. You know what I'm saying? I wanted really authentic people up there to balance it out.
Right. Cool. All right, so now look. The Eminem situation, because I feel like the Eminem situation is what kind of killed the magazine. Because
you're wrong.
What did?
Dave Mays, H. Edward Young, Steve Stout had an idea to do Source.com in around 95 and 96 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the idea ended up being like, when you think about it, it was a good idea, but it was just the wrong time. They opened up a brand new office on Fifth Avenue and had all these, because the first time I seen all these damn computers, I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, Dave asked me about it, and I said, I know nothing about it. I'm not co-signing it. He took out a loan for $9 million, and we never recovered after that. At an 18% interest rate at some little fucking bank in Providence, and the .com that they established and did this big website, it crashed, like all the other .coms did in the early 90s. What people don't realize, a lot of the early .com all crashed because it was new. Everybody didn't have a computer. They didn't know. They surely didn't have it on the phone, and it crashed. And we ended up owing a bunch of money. We actually turned down. We was in Bob Johnson's office. Me and Dave flew to Bob Johnson's office, and we turned down $55 million. We wanted 80 because we owed the bank 30, and the rest was history. We ended up selling BET, and he wanted us to walk away. After taxes and everything, we probably would have walked with about $3 million a piece, and we felt that wasn't it.
Do you regret that deal now?
I don't regret nothing, man, because everything in life is how it was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Could I made better decisions to produce better outcomes? We all could. That's life. But regrets, you can't have regrets because it already happened. All you got to do is learn from it, and I learned a lot from those situations. And
so let's talk about the Eminem situation, because that's what they want to hear about. What sparked the whole Eminem thing?
I mean, we talked about this 6 trillion times. I don't think it's important to even talk about really what sparked it off. I think it's important to understand what my mindset was when I decided to go against the machine. Eminem was just like a hood ornament on a big car. He wasn't no threat. Everybody in the industry has to be politically correct because they got to answer to somebody. So a motherfucker will blatantly not say something that's true just because they have to answer to someone and be able to get a relationship with somebody. At that point,
that's like what's going on with Jay-Z right now. Everybody backpedaling and all that stuff.
I got my opinions on that too, but if we got time, I'll quickly tell you mine about that. But hip hop, what people don't understand is hip hop financially brought white people to our culture in ways that nothing ever has. And that was important for us, especially when crack and guns tore apart our neighborhoods. Hip hop actually was something where a black kid could come out of jail and get a real job. Hip hop produced so many independent clothing companies that we didn't have to go buy their clothes anymore. Hip hop was so huge that little Johnny and Susie, who probably grew up in a super racist home, defied their parents and really came to black culture. Now, that's power and that's influence that we should have kept ours. Once we let them make an Eminem with the intentions of, we're going to make this white kid so all the white kids that are buying into black hip hop can go run to him. And that's what they did. And that's all I was talking about. All I was saying was, at that time, when people were up at there was Source staff members and all kind of people going crazy about this white kid rapping, all I'm saying is, look, the kid can put words together and that's cool. But he's getting special treatment from MTV. He's getting special treatment from everybody in every publication and radio and everything. Because they knew the money and the financials that was going to come to get it. Because at the end of the day, the same thing with the Trump situation. There's more white people that live in America than us. We're outnumbered by three to four. So right then and there, the financials of it, everybody wanted to be a part of it. So nobody would dare say anything about it. All the top rappers, let me tell you something. Hip hop came from the basics of whoever's on top, I'm going at you. That's what it was. It wasn't disrespectful. That's what battling was. That was a very important part. It's been a part of hip hop since day one. Right. Nobody went at Eminem because they were scared to go against the machine. They were scared to go against the status quo. They were scared to break up a relationship. See, I didn't have to answer. I didn't have to answer to nobody, and that's why I said what I said.
Right. And you got, and I will admit, what you, Eminem got away with so much shit that a black rapper couldn't get away with. He was calling people faggots. He didn't catch no backlash. He didn't catch no backlash for calling people faggots.
Yeah, but forget about that. Just the fact that MTV would let him run in Radio City Music Hall with 100 white kids with blonde hair behind him, just because his video gets played 3,000 times. Like, he got special treatment because they opened the floodgates up for thousands of white people just to deal with him. Look, remember, hip-hop brought racist white kids to look at a black kid and say, yo, that's dope. They couldn't help it. They couldn't help the rhythm. They couldn't help but to bop with the beat. They couldn't help, but the parents of Johnny and Susie are walking in their rooms and they're seeing all these black posters on their wall. Our culture couldn't have that. These are going to be our next leaders. Hip-hop was that strong of an influence where they had to give them an image of their own.
I agree.
Like Eminem could put words together. He's cool. He can, but hip-hop is more than fucking rap, bro. It's our culture. It's how we think, eat, live, everything else.
Right.
You can rap, but that's one part of the culture. He wasn't a part of it. He still isn't a part of the culture.
Yeah, because you won't go in the club and hear nobody banging no Eminem song to this day.
Even deeper than that. My point is, there's white kids in Florida that grow up who I can consider part of the culture. It's just like an American Me. When the white kid grew up with the essays, with the men, he was down with it. If you authentically grow up around niggas, then you're in. If you don't, you ain't in. Now, just because you put words together, elevator and masturbator and perpetrator, that's not the shit that we listen to, and that's not the shit that hip hop represents to us.
Right.
At the end of the day, God rest Nipsey Hussle. You see what culture was when Nipsey died? It's not that even, Nipsey is a martyr now. Eminem's not a part of that. He's not a part of that loss. He's a part, he raps, but he's not a part of our struggle and our culture. And I found
and another thing that you pointed out too about Eminem that these young kids don't know about is when you put out the video with him calling the black girl a bitch and a nigga.
I wouldn't even talk about that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you like that is hip hop history. I remember it. To hear Eminem call a black woman what do you call it, a nigga and a bitch, like you can't. That shit ain't gonna never be erased from my brain.
Bro, let me tell you something. I was in Puerto Rico. I get a call from Dave. I got 3 white kids sitting in here. They're trying to sell this cassette that they rapped with Eminem and used to rap the Rap Racist Hour or something. I said, oh shit. I flew back up there. Evidently, this was a couple of guys in his crew. Maddox. I don't know who the fuck these dudes was. I was just excited because, oh man, this is what we needed, because it kind of shows my point. So they've been trying to sell the cassette for almost a year now. I think they offered Murder Inc. I think they want to sell to Murder Inc. for 50 bands. I paid $15,000 for the cassette. The idea was we're gonna put the cassette and shrink wrap it in the source, and everybody will know, and they'll listen to the whole hour of them saying nigger, Porchman, all this other crazy shit that he was saying. All right. Yeah. Now, okay. We made the deal with him. We got the set. Interscope sued us. Now, remember, they denied it that it was him, but once it was him, they sued us and said we can't put it out because of copyright infringement. That's Eminem's material. So okay, so
which is true.
So now they say, well, he was 21 years old. No. And he had a black girlfriend, and he was mad. No. The white kids didn't say that. Plus, we did the Maxell cassette was made when he was 16 years old. We had did We went to the Maxell company. I mean, we hired a private eye. We really was, because they was involved, we was involved. Interscope was going to great lengths. I did 3 meetings with Jimmy Iovine before we put the cassette out. And all I asked Jimmy was this. And, you know, I brought my father to the first meeting because I didn't want Jimmy to kick all this mafia shit, because I wanted my dad like, yeah, I got a real mob nigga with me right here. So don't kick that, oh, Jimmy Iovine's down with the mob, and we're not scared. We don't want to hear that.
Right.
All I'm saying is, when he's telling me don't put the cassette out, I'm saying, well, to set up a meeting with me and Eminem to sit down, because it'll be good for these white and black kids to see that. It'll be good to squash all this, but for the hip hop community to see, so we can bring a real unity with white and black. I felt like the unity was coming before Eminem because they was buying into us. But now that Eminem's there, now the white kid can say, yeah, fuck you. Eminem's the greatest of all time rapper because he sold the most. And now we're in the conversation of hip hop and we don't need you niggas no more. That's what's happening now. That's the effect of all this.
Right.
I seen that shit coming.
Well, you know what I hated about that whole thing?
I didn't fucking go against Eminem to fucking out-rap Eminem. I don't put Elevator with Masturbator. I rapped about niggas getting shot and selling drugs because that's what I seen. And fucking with chicks and wearing jewelry and the same shit that we was doing. I wasn't rapping like that.
You know what I hated about that whole thing? How he was blatantly wrong, and I seen our icons, our hip hop forefathers turn on you.
My nigga,
and he like, that was crazy to me.
No, the crazy shit's when I went up to fucking Hot 97, where they had been already playing my shit, all the fucking support in the world, and all of a sudden Eminem does the interview. Now Flex and Angie and everybody turn against me, and then that's when I had to go at them. Right. That's when I had to go on Ms. Jones's, and I had to question Russell Simmons because he's like, hey, he just gave some coats to the women's shelters. I'm looking at all these motherfuckers, and y'all niggas is talking about getting our hoods together in leadership and hip hop empowerment. But here you all sticking up for this motherfucker when he blatantly disrespect our culture. The song that ended up going out was called Foolish Pride. Now, we won the federal case. They had to pay for our lawyers. $200,000 they had to pay for our lawyers. But the judge said you can only put 30 seconds of the tape. And that was the infamous tape in the shrink wrap. And so I just went and just edited it. Fuck, nigga, bitches, white girls are better. Fuck, nigga, fuck. A whole bunch of dumb shit. If the internet was out back then, it would have been a different story. The bottom line was they buried it. They had the money. Interscope had 60% of hip hop. They pulled all the ads, and we was already going through the financial difficulty with the loan that Dave took out, and that's what buried the source. It wasn't them. Right.
Got you. All right, so let's try to wrap it up. So where you at? What happened with you and Dave, and where y'all at today?
I ain't spoke to Dave in a long time. Dave went his way, and Dave went my way. And I'm not here to bash Dave. Me and Dave did some amazing things with the Source magazine. We made a lot of money. We have a great story to tell. One day, I guess he'll tell his side, and I'll tell my side. What I won't do is let Dave rewrite history. And there was a couple of things that Dave said on the Breakfast Club that rubbed me the wrong way. Number one, him saying that it was just him that made the Source, all right? And said that I got down 10 years later. He made me, no, that shit happened. The Source was the first, if you even considered that the Source, that never got out nationally. It was just a Cambridge
newsletter.
The first probably issue of the Source, probably like in 90 or something. I got put down 3-4 years later. He asked me to be a partner because he needed protection from the people that wanted him to step down. And I was his only really friend at that point. So that was one misconception. Choke, I sent you 2 papers yesterday. Do you have the papers?
I can't show it on here, but yeah.
One of the notes say what, Choke? When he did the interview with the Observer, and I need you to post. It says that he was my partner, and it's easy to